Welcome to the first episode of my new Conspiracy Theories Debunked series, which I'm really looking forward to starting and sharing all this genuine knowledge with all of you. Now, this is a place where, we don't do dramatic stories here. This is a place where real world facts are said about. There's no dramatic theories, no weird stories. This is the real, logical truth that people seem to be forgetting about nowadays. People seem to be jumping to all sorts of conclusions about all sorts of different things. And actually, here is the place where the real truth is about all these things. The genuine truth that people need to hear. So, today, I thought we'd start with the most well-known myth and theory that there is. Everyone's heard about it. Everyone knows about it. It's the flat Earth theory. Now, this is something that started, I believe, in many years ago. When, actually, I just thought I'd start by explaining to you what this theory is. So, there are people who believe that the Earth is flat. It's a widespread belief that started many years ago. These people believe that there is an edge to the Earth, that there's an ice wall surrounding the edge, that gravity doesn't exist, space is all CGI, and if the Earth is truly flat. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to debunk these claims and make people see that actually it's not true. It's massive rubbish. So that's what I'm going to do today for our first episode. So the first thing to talk about is where it came from, how it started. So flat Earth actually goes back many years ago. It started thousands of years ago when people didn't know the actual true shape of the Earth. Because you got to think, years ago, people didn't have the equipment that we have now to measure space and look at the Earth from space. People didn't have that sort of equipment back then. So people were just guessing the shape of the Earth because they didn't actually see the Earth itself. So they just guessed the shape of it because it was easy just to sort of make an estimate. And people were able to actually see the Earth, but there wasn't enough equipment to actually go high enough to see the actual curve, if you know what I mean. So people just assumed that the Earth was flat because they couldn't see the roundness of it, if that makes sense. They couldn't see the roundness of the Earth. And then, when equipment came out that you could actually see the curve of the Earth, people said, oh, okay, it's round. However, some people carried on believing that the Earth was flat. And that's what we're going to get into. Why, if this belief stopped years ago, when people saw that the Earth was round, why do people still believe it today? That's what I want to talk about. Now, the first thing that people say is, if the Earth is flat, if the Earth is flat apparently because planes fly in a straight line. This is the one that you hear all the time, isn't it? Planes fly in a straight line, that must mean the Earth is flat. It doesn't. Flight maps for plane flights, you can clearly see that those maps are demonstrated around a curved Earth. You can see it goes round, not across, it goes round. Why would it do that if the Earth was flat? It wouldn't go round, would it? It would go across. You know when people say the phrase around the world, why would they say that if the Earth was flat? They'd say across the world, not around the world. And the phrase global. global. Globe. That means round. Globe is a round thing. You know, a globe, global, means around the world. So why is it called that if the Earth is flat? Why is it called global? That's something else to think about, isn't it? The word global and the phrase around the world. So planes fly in a straight line, but you can clearly see when you go on long-haul flights that you enter what's called time zones. Now, this is a really big proof that the Earth is round, because on a flat Earth, time zones wouldn't exist. The reason that time zones exist is because one half of the planet is facing the sun, which means it's daytime. The other half is not facing the sun, which means it's nighttime. If the Earth was flat, that would not be the case. So you can clearly see that. You can clearly see that. Why would time zones exist? You know, when you go on holiday, say you're going on holiday, you know, you're from England, you want to go on holiday to, I don't know, let's go simple, let's go Italy. Because I said in my previous, I went there a couple of months ago. I went to Italy on holiday, and when I got there, they were an hour ahead. They were an hour ahead because of time zones. Back then, an hour is an hour behind here. That means that time zones is a thing. But, you know, let's go further. Let's talk real time zones here. Let's go to America, where it is essentially coming up to the morning where they are now. Why would that be the case if the Earth was flat? It wouldn't. If the Earth was flat, it'd be the same time everywhere. Because one side of the Earth wouldn't be facing the sun. Do you get what I mean? The reason that time zones exist is because of the shape of the Earth. Because there will always be one side of this planet not facing the sun. And solar eclipses. You can clearly see a curve, can't you? So why would you see a curve if the Earth was flat? You wouldn't see anything. But you do, because it's a curved shape. You know when astronauts fly up into space, the International Space Station, there is footage from that. You see footage of that all over the place. If you Google Earth into Google, you can see many, many, many pictures of the Earth from space. And in all of those pictures, you can clearly see one thing in common in every picture. The curve shape. There is a curve in the Earth. Every picture you can see, there is a curve. Isn't there? A curve. Now, you know, don't get me wrong, but flat Earth wouldn't have a curve, would it? And also, another thing that I'm really struggling to get my head around about it is if it was flat, wouldn't somebody have fallen off it at some point? What about people who go on around the world cruises? Surely they just fall off, right? Right? Have you ever heard a story, a news headline, you know, 10 o'clock news, breaking news, person fell off the Earth? No. You've never seen that. That has not been a headline that has existed. Because that cannot happen. there is no world, well, I don't know, there could be, but not on this planet anyway, where a person has fallen off the edge of the Earth. And if there was an edge of the Earth, let's play devil's advocate, if there is an edge of the Earth, where is it? Where would it actually be? Where would it be located if it did have an edge? Where would it be? Would it be Antarctica? Would it be a desert? Would it be an ocean? What would it be? Where would it be? If it existed, where would it be? Where would the edge be if it was real? It wouldn't be anywhere, would it? Because who is guarding that wall? They say it's guarded by NASA. Well, that's ridiculous. Like, do you have any idea how ridiculous that actually sounds? An ice wall guarding the Earth that NASA is protecting. Apparently it's in Antarctica. The North Pole and South Pole have edges of the Earth. Yeah. What about the other side then? There's another side, isn't there? That's just two ends. What about the other side? What's happening on the other two sides? Because if it was flat, there'd be edges all the way round. So how can the North Pole and South Pole, on complete opposite ends of the Earth, how can both of those things have edges when they're just tips at the top? The North Pole is at one end of the Earth, South Pole is at a complete other. So how on earth can an ice wall protect those two things? I don't understand that logic. The pole, that means the tip of the Earth. If there was such a thing as a ice wall and the Earth was flat, wouldn't that just be all around? Why would there be a pole? If you're assuming that the Earth is like an oval shape, then obviously that would be different. But when people think of flat Earth, what's on the flip side then? What's on the other side of it if it's flat? If you flipped it over, what would be on the other side of it? And what would gravity be like as well? We haven't even thought about gravity, have we? What would gravity be like on a flat Earth? Crazy. There wouldn't be any gravity. You'd constantly be walking upwards. Because that's how it would work. If the Earth was flat, you'd be walking upwards constantly, wouldn't you? It'd be like climbing a continuous mountain. But it's not like that. And what about mountains? What about oceans? What about all these different things that we have on our Earth? These landmarks and different types of Earth culture. What would that be like if the Earth was flat? What about space? Come on, think about it. But people seem to think that space is CGI. How can it be CGI when people have literally been there? How can you go to a place that doesn't exist? That's just mental. How can space not be real? If space isn't real, then NASA are doing a pretty good job of keeping up, aren't they, all these years later? They're doing a pretty good cover-up, aren't they? I'd say that's genuinely creditable work. Designating a whole entire multi-million organisation to a place that doesn't even exist is pretty good work, don't you think? That's what you've got to think. Why would there be a whole organisation made specialising in exploring space. There are pictures of it. There are people who've been there. There are people who are out there every day. And yet, apparently, it doesn't exist. How can that be right? How can people go there if it doesn't exist? Trust me, it exists. It exists. It absolutely exists. You can see it. When it's dark outside, it's like space out in the sky, isn't it? Just think about that for a moment. And about the Earth being flat. If the Earth was as flat as, you know, people think of the Earth like being like a mattress. But they never explain what's on the flip side, do they? What could it be? How would you fall off the Earth? Or is there just like waterfalls constantly falling down into space? That's just not how gravity and physics work. It does not work like that. There is no waterfalls splashing down into space and no ice wall surrounding the Earth. So I think it's safe to say that flat Earth is massive rubbish. And I don't know why people believe it. I think it just goes back to what I said at the beginning about all those years ago when people didn't have the equipment to do proper space research. So they just did an estimate on what they thought the Earth looked like. When actually it is round, and we all know it's round. Well, most people know it's round. It's just a small community of people who don't think that it is. They're called flat earthers. That's what they call them. It's a community of people who believe the Earth is flat. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole entire debunking of flat Earth. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. If you probably knew it all already, to be honest. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be doing another one tomorrow night where I'm going to be uncovering another weird theory with you tomorrow. I'm thinking, well, I'm trying to figure out what it's going to be yet, but I'll get back to you tomorrow, and it'll be one that will be a bit more easier to cover. But yeah, it's just very easy to debunk the flat Earth, isn't it? Because it's all just obvious, isn't it? It's just obvious. Of course it's round. So, you know, if you've seen it, you've been up there, you've seen it, you know, don't you? And not many people have probably been to space, but you don't even have to go to space to know it. You just know it, don't you? It's taught in schools. Anyway, yeah, keep an eye out for tomorrow's video. Haven't decided quite on what it's going to be about yet. But keep an eye on it, because it'll be out tomorrow night. This probably exact time as well. So, yeah. Have a good day, and thank you for watching this video. Plenty more to come.